Now on CoastTV News.
Dark skies. Rehoboth Beach considers dimming down lighting in the city. Why and what people think about it. The lasting impact of the government shutdown. It's over now, but one Bethany Beach project has to play catch up. And later, park for a penny. As the last 1-cent coin was minted this week, we take a look back at how a penny once bought parking and more in downtown Seaford.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Our top story tonight, Rehoboth Beach is looking at becoming dark sky friendly. According to city officials, the city says it does not have a formal rule regulating outdoor lighting. And CoastTV reporter Elisa Weber tells us about a proposed ordinance in the city that they're set to review this week.
If you visit Rehoboth Beach after sunset, you'll likely see streets illuminated by bright lights lining the downtown area. But the city is now considering steps to become dark sky compliant. On Friday, November 14th at 10 a.m., Rehoboth Beach city officials will review the Rehoboth Beach Dark Skies Ordinance, which is a proposed ordinance to help regulate lights like the ones you see all around me. Back in 2021, a resolution was adopted, but city officials say an ordinance was never passed to formally regulate and review outdoor lighting. The city says the ordinance is designed to minimize direct glare and prevent excessive lighting, ultimately improving views of the night sky. Officials claim the measure will help preserve Rehoboth Beach's quality of life, promote wildlife habitation and migration, conserve energy, and more. However, Jim Hoffman, who frequently visits Rehoboth Beach in the early morning hours, believes the downtown area's current lighting doesn't need to change.
I really don't think that's necessary. I think that it works well. I never had any difficulty. It never ruined the scene for me, and to take the trade-off for safety, I'd be against that.
According to city documents, in addition to preserving the skyline, the ordinance will also provide sufficient lighting where it is needed to promote safety and security. In Rehoboth Beach, I'm Elisa Weber, Coast TV News.
Also in Rehoboth Beach today, the Rehoboth Police Chief outlined what he thinks the city needs to keep both drivers and pedestrians safe. He highlighted this to a new committee, and the two main topics were curbing speeding and improving pedestrian safety. People we spoke with seem to agree.
They just kind of come flying down Rehoboth Avenue and they're not really paying attention. And a lot of the traffic rules change, like now you can turn at certain intersections where you wouldn't have been able to in the summer. So if you're not paying attention, you could be trouble.
Crossing some of these busy roads is very dangerous. You know, I worry about even with the lights that they have, a lot of cars don't pay attention to those safety lights. You know, they'll try to zoom around, and, you know, I'm very concerned for the pedestrians, my own safety and others.
So the committee discussed lowering the speed limit and adding signs, but nothing has been decided yet. Now we're looking live outside into Lewis, and our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a check on our forecast. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you. And right now we're starting to feel the chill in the air. Once again, it's gripping us rather tightly, similar to how we're going to feel in the morning time. Now, the thing about this is kind of odd. We're going to start feeling milder in the afternoon, but still jump right back into very chilly in the morning time. I mean, we're going to drop back into the lower 40s in Rehoboth Beach, for example, and that's close to the water where it's going to be a little slower for things to fall. But aside from that, we're still going to expect for the chill to kick in, even though the weekend's going to be a little milder during the daytime hours. Now we're starting to feel a little bit cooler. For example, we're 9 degrees cooler in Easton than we were just 24 hours ago, 7 degrees cooler in Dover, 4 degrees cooler in Salisbury as well as Wallops Island, with mostly clear skies at this time, with the wind staying relatively light. So we have a bit of radiational cooling occurring right now, which is kind of like a fast way for the temperatures to drop in our immediate area. Coming up, we'll talk about the possibility of rain over the weekend and big time winter feeling temperatures or conditions making a big comeback by next week. Christina?
Thank you, Paul. The new Sussex County Family Courthouse officially opened today. The project has been in the works since 2016. This shovel, you see, it went in the ground in 2022, and today the new family court is officially open to serve the people of Sussex County. And every person who spoke at today's ceremony mentioned the cases that come through the family court are tend to be difficult and emotional, and they say that's why having better security and more space there will really make a positive difference for the people and employees who go to the family court. Now, the big scissors, they came out, there they are. You can see the ribbon was cut, but before that we heard from former Delaware Governor John Carney, also the mayor of Georgetown, Bill West, and the people who designed the new courthouse. Everyone was celebrating the long road it took to get here.
These are some of the hardest cases for ordinary Delawareans who have to come to court and resolve their differences. The prior facilities were not up to snuff as far as safety, security, and comfort. Now they have a dignified and safe and secure place to resolve their family court disputes.
And he mentioned the former family courthouse. We're told it's going to be used for something new, but exactly what, that's not really clear yet. Officials say it's in the discussion phase right now, but most likely some kind of state or court function. Also, the new family court, like we said, it broke ground in June of 2022. The more than 100,000 square foot facility features 8 spacious courtrooms, roughly 3 times bigger than the old building. It also has 500 security cameras and new technology. Lawmakers returned to Dover today for an extraordinary session to address a $400 million budget shortfall in the state. The House debated House Bill 255 for several hours. It's a measure to decouple Delaware's tax code from federal changes. Democrats say the shortfall comes from federal tax provisions under President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, while Republicans, on the other hand, they blame the gap on overspending by the majority party. The bill passed with all yes votes from Democrats. Republicans, though, are warning it could hurt Delaware's business climate and questioned the session, while Democrats say it's needed to protect the state's revenue.
If we keep saying it's only 20 million there, it's only 50 million there, we won't be able to attend to the issues, the emergencies that are thrown on us by DC. And as the state of Delaware, we want to be first in taking care of our people.
From calling the extraordinary session to what we saw today was a blatant charge to try to misdirect where that deficit is coming from. And that's coming from overspending here in Dover. It's not coming from Washington.
The bill will now get sent over to the Senate, where it is expected to be discussed and voted on next week in Dover. The historic 43-day government shutdown, it ended last night after the House voted to pass a funding package. The shutdown, though, it did not just hit Washington, D.C. It hit everywhere nationwide, and it pushed pause on projects here along the coast. As reporter Brandon Ferguson explains, a major project in Bethany Beach is now behind schedule.
This area of the Loop Canal is in line for a new 855-foot retaining wall. So far, only preliminary work has been completed, things like engineering studies, and no actual physical construction. George Hess, whose son has a house in Bethany, says he's happy to see the shutdown and the political squabbles end.
They keep fighting. And they don't take care of the people. They just take care of themselves. And I just think it's about time they started thinking about America instead of politics.
The town says the Army Corps of Engineers are now consulting on the project and will start issuing permits, but that could take up to a year and a half. And it's not just construction projects that took a hit during the shutdown. As CoastTV has previously reported, SNAP funding to run out nationwide at the beginning of the month. To cover the gap in services, Delaware declared a state of emergency using state funds to fill the void.
Michael O'Brien helps run Casa San Francisco here in Milton, which acts as an emergency shelter and food pantry. He says after the shutdown ended last night, he expects things to go back to business as usual.
Inez Steele from Milton says it's terrible that politics ended up taking food off of people's tables.
The shutdown holding things like that up, especially the SNAP program where it's affecting what's happening in people's homes, breaks my heart.
According to the Ag Secretary, federal SNAP benefits should start going out again Monday, and local projects like the one in Bethany should start showing signs of progress again as well.
That was Brandon Ferguson reporting. And the bill signed last night to end the shutdown. It funds most federal agencies until January 30th and provides back pay to federal workers while also restarting suspended government services. And this brings us right into our Coast TV poll tonight. We're asking what you think should be funded first as work resumes now. Let's look at the results. 19% say public works, 69% say social services, 9% with small businesses, 3% say grant programs. We also have a comment tonight. This is from Pam in Dagsboro. She says, people who have not been paid in 40 days need to be able to get back to work and get all the pay they have not received immediately. Thank you, Pam, for the comment, and thank you everyone for voting. You still can vote. Just go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. And more on the government shutdown ending. It's over, but flight delays and flight cancellations, those will linger as air traffic controllers staff back up. Workers who have not received a paycheck in weeks will still have to wait for their back pay. And as Sherelle Hubbard reports, even as the government reopens, the travel delays may persist as the country works to get back to normal.
Travelers, hold on to your hats. The reopening of the government means more services are gearing up to fully come back with the return of furloughed federal employees. Essential federal workers like TSA agents and air traffic controllers have remained on the job, but with staffing issues and without paychecks. Flight delays and cancellations are expected to linger as air traffic control facilities staff back up.
It's going to take a long time. The problem is that the cascading effect that has occurred during the government shutdown is going to just kind of build on top of itself.
The federal government is open once again after President Donald Trump signed a stopgap funding bill into law late Wednesday. But Thursday, nearly 1,000 flights were canceled due to those staffing issues, FAA mandated cuts to keep the airspace safe, and other unrelated reasons. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem handed out what she said were $10,000 bonus checks to nearly 24 TSA workers at George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston for what she called exemplary service through the shutdown.
For stepping up, taking on extra shifts, for showing up each and every day.
Still, air traffic controller staffing problems were reported at Federal Aviation Administration facilities Thursday. While it remains unclear when regular operations will resume, travelers seem thankful relief is en route.
I'm really happy about that for the people that are traveling for the holidays. At least that takes it off their plate.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Now, in 3 months, travelers may have to contend with staffing turbulence all over again. The agreement President Trump signed into law Wednesday evening that funds most of the government, it only funds it until January 30th. And we are just getting started. We have more news coming up, like paved over. A well-known Black Lives Matter mural in Cambridge, it's suddenly gone. Why the city says it happened and what could replace it. But first, taking a step back in time to see how lives were saved along the coast long before the Coast Guard was formed. That's next. And Paul Williams is tracking your forecast in the First Alert Weather Center. He has your full forecast in just a bit.
Long before modern rescue boats and even radios, a group of local heroes saved hundreds using nothing but courage and some simple tools. In this week's Coastal Connection, reporter Kevin Zappe takes us to the nation's oldest life-saving museum right here on Delmarva.
Before the Coast Guard, the U.S. Life Saving Service was dedicated to rescuing shipwrecked sailors. And the old station along Route 1 is now a place where visitors can step back in time to learn just how important this station once was.
At that time, most people couldn't actually swim. So even if, shore was in sight, they were probably going to die before they got over here. So really important to have somebody who could respond.
Tyler Dryblatt is the interpretive programs manager for the Delaware Seashore State Park. And he gave us a tour inside.
Now let's say you were actually on patrol and you saw a ship in distress, right? You can't call them up on the cell phone, can't use a walkie-talkie. So the way you're going to alert your friends is by using a flare. These Cosden flares.
After alerting everyone via flare, the real work started. Rescue crews sprinting to the boat room to move 1,000 pounds of gear to the water.
So you're moving literally a ton of equipment, for miles on sand to the wreck and then starting your rescue.
According to Dryblatt, the life-saving station responded to 60 wrecks and saved more than 400 lives. This job came with limited living space, little pay, and constant risk. So why would someone take on the role?
They were really held in high regard. In a time before like movie stars or sports heroes, surfmen were some of the first big public heroes.
The life-saving station started in 1876, before merging with the Revenue Cutter Service to form the U.S. Coast Guard in 1915. Although this cupola is no longer used to watch for shipwrecks, it's still being used to help boaters out at sea.
And just last year, we put up something called Station Keeper, which is a whale monitoring program. So we'll get signals alerting us to whales in the area, and that will actually pass it off to other ships and kind of help reroute them. So again, we're not saving human lives here anymore, but we are still saving lives, and I just think it's a really cool legacy for us to have.
If you would like to see some part of coastal history, be sure to stop at the Life Saving Museum here in Rehoboth Beach that shows you what it took to save lives on the coast. I'm Kevin Zappe in Rehoboth Beach, Coast TV News.
I think we're going to squeeze out a couple of absolutely gorgeous looking days, particularly in the afternoon. It's going to feel pretty nice, but we just got to get past that morning chill. That morning chill is going to be a real thing, and then we'll come out of that, that sort of doldrum of things and enjoy a pretty sunny and enjoyable afternoon. So in Salisbury right now, we are at freezing as we speak. Temperature 32. Dew point temperature 31, which actually means we have a lot of moisture, which is kind of the haze that you see right here. That's not a camera fog situation. That's actual moisture content, because the air temperature and the dew point temperature, when they're that close, we have nearly 100% humidity, relative humidity, to be honest. Now, looking for the temperature to stay in the 30s. We're at 32 not only there, but in Gumboro, 32 in Dagsboro, 32 in Long Neck, but we're a little bit warmer in Lewis at 44 degrees. So the chill is there. I mean, 32 degrees is cold no matter what side of the scale you come in on. Now, we still have at least one leftover small craft advisory that's active for us from Rehoboth Beach, Herring Landing, Ocean View down towards Fenwick Island. We were looking for about 25-mile-per-hour wind gust, occasionally, not steady, but just occasionally, just kind of accelerating. But overall, we're staying relatively quiet with little to nothing happening. The big deal has been how cool the temperatures have been compared to the norm. For example, today we warmed up to 57. 59 is where we should be. But when you take a look at the last 31 days, you'll notice that on the bottom are the times that we've actually had the temperatures that were below the norm for this time of the year. And above, they were above. So we had more about 20 to 21 days below and, less than that above. So yeah, we've been trending lower. So it's not just you. It really has been a bit cooler for us thus far during this fall season since it kicked off. Temperatures in the 30s, well into the 30s for tonight and overnight. Then for tomorrow, we'll wake up to a scattered cloud cover, and the winds will be pushing out of the northwest. That's one of those cutting, uncomfortable winds now. When it's out of the southwest, it's warm and fuzzy. That's like how I like to call it. But the winds out of the northwest, not so comfortable. Kind of rude, cutting, uncomfortable winds, particularly if you don't have sleeves on. Then we go into Friday, we're looking pretty clear most of the day. Then Friday night, we see it cloud up again. Saturday is going to become cloudy as well. And it's really going to be the setup for rain to hit late Saturday night going to early Sunday morning. Most of us might not even see that rain. See how it pushed across the green? You hardly saw it. It's going to kind of be that way. We're calm with the wind gusts for right now, but wind's going to pick up momentum for Friday at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. And then by Sunday, picking up 30 to 35 mile per hour winds. And that's going to help it feel that much colder. You see, the rain pushes across quickly for Sunday. Then really, it stays up there for a blip, okay? That's not really the big story. The big story is how cold it's going to be next week. Watch this. That's next Tuesday. We're going to be 28. That's what it's going to feel like. So that's why I'm telling you, no matter how mild it may feel during the day, don't let Mother Nature fool you. When this drops from Sunday going back to Monday and all of next week, all these 30s, going to feel like 20s.
Thank you, Paul. The Black Lives Matter mural that once spanned across Race Street in Cambridge, it's now gone, covered by new pavement. And this is due to planned resurfacing that occurred on several streets throughout Cambridge. Alpha Genesis, the nonprofit that helped create the mural, along with the city, are in talks right now to eventually paint something new. And neighbors we spoke with say the mural was part of the city's identity and that it should return.
It was a wonderful mural, and it really brought a lot of attention to this part of the downtown where we have a large artist community.
Earlier this week, you might remember Salisbury crews paid over a Pride-themed crosswalk to comply with federal transportation rules. We asked the Cambridge mayor whether federal funding could be at risk if a new mural returned to Race Street. She says the choice to bring the mural back will rest with the public and city commissioners. Well, we can now say goodbye to the penny as we know it. The very last pennies were minted yesterday, and President Trump says it's because they're too costly to make. But back in the day, 1 penny could buy you parking in downtown Seaford, or candy, maybe even a biscuit. These meters are from the 1940s and 50s, and a local historian tells us it cost 1 penny for every 12 minutes of parking downtown. Nowadays, he says that would be more like 13 pennies every 12 minutes. The meters were brought in as downtown Seaford got busier, but just like parking changes now, there were people on both sides of the coin back then.
There was some outrage at first. There were some people that were saying that, oh my God, you know, we've actually gotten into the era where we actually have to pay for parking in downtown Seaford. And there were some people that were very upset, and then other people looked at it lightheartedly and said, well, look, we're moving up. We're actually going from a horse to vehicles and actually charging a penny for each one of them.
The parking meters were eventually scrapped in Seaford. Now Seaford has a free 2-hour parking limit in spots downtown. Coming up in sports tonight, we make our way to the Athlete Academy in Berlin, where a Stephen Decatur girls soccer standout has been hard at work for over 5 years. And coming up, it is sick season. What to expect as respiratory viruses ramp up and the everyday habits that can help keep you healthy.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
We are now officially in respiratory virus season, and it's expected to last until mid-May. But there are ways to protect against viruses like COVID-19, the flu, and RSV naturally. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither explains how you can give your immune system a big boost.
It's that time of year again. Respiratory virus season typically peaks between December and February, and as we get deeper into it, it's important that your body is prepared.
I am anticipating, as I think we all are, a rough respiratory season.
Dr. Sarah Nozel with the American Academy of Family Physicians says the first line of defense is vaccination. There are vaccines that protect against flu, RSV, and COVID-19, but there are also natural ways to give your immune system a boost, and that starts with getting your underlying medical conditions under control.
Do you have any medical problems that we should be preparing your asthma medications for the fall and winter? Should we be making sure your diabetes is well controlled?
Next, Nozel says make healthy choices. That includes consistent exercise, staying hydrated, and eating foods like fruits and vegetables.
We want our body to have all of the nutrients, not to be deficient in any nutrients.
Getting good quality sleep is also critical for immune system health, as is managing stress. And Nozel's final tip, make sure everyone in the family frequently washes their hands with soap and water.
When you touch your nose, your mouth, your eyes, or even your face, and your hands have not just been washed, you are likely transmitting small bits of virus to yourself throughout the virus season.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Over in Berlin, Decatur girls soccer had an 11-win season. Maddie Pennington started on a back line that allowed just a goal a game, and we learned more about her through the Athlete Academy.
I joined back in, I think, 2018, 2019, when they only had the Salisbury location.
She was 10 years old. I remember her coming in with her brother. She's half the size she is now. She used to have this little headband on, and she looked so angry all the time. She would just walk around all like war face on, you know what I mean?
Well, I was just nervous because I'd never done any serious strength training in my life.
But she used to work harder than half of our high school kids since the time she was 10.
I don't think I really appreciated it when I was younger. I think it was just a thing I was going to. But later, maybe a few years after I started doing it, I started seeing the difference in how I was before and how I was after.
Stephen Decatur sophomore Maddie Pennington isn't the only one who's noticed how she's improved at the Athlete Academy. Over the last year, she's been accompanied by her younger sister.
Yeah, she's definitely gotten stronger. She's definitely started like I've noticed she's gotten like much more like confident here like over the years since she's been coming to Athlete Academy. Like I want to come here, and if I'm having a bad day, I think like I can always guarantee this will make me feel better.
Reporting from Berlin, Ian Nicholas, DSN.
It's another week in the NFL regular season, and this week on CoastTV, the Detroit Lions take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. and stay tuned for CoastTV News right after that.
So we take a look outside, courtesy of our Toyota Health camera. We're at 32 degrees for us in Salisbury, 27 for the dew point temperature. With the air temperature and dew point temperature so close to one another, actually got a little bit of condensation happening outside at this point, and we're going to stay clear. Our small craft advisory will stay in effect for Friday for the coast forest for Sussex, but everywhere else, the small craft advisories have been allowed to expire. Mary Collins of Millsboro, congratulations, you're our umbrella winner. And Mary, come by the house and pick it up. I mean, house like the TV station, not my actual house, though. Our weather line sponsored by Mondalis Bruckstedt and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. And we're looking at rain perhaps late Saturday night going to Sunday. Let me clarify that. I was joking. You don't have to come by my house to pick up your umbrella. Come by the station and pick up the umbrella. I'm referring to the house as the station in Milton. That's where you go to pick it up.
Yeah, you got to pick it up. We can't bring it to you. We can't ship it to you.
And you can't come to my house.
Just go to Paul's house, surprise him.
But if you have food.
That's a different story. Thank you, Paul. Thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. You can always find more news and more weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show is next, and we're back tomorrow at 5 a.m.
Have a good night.